illegal immigrants in the United States are now self-deporting. Why? Because of this guy.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
But it's not just the migrants that are running to avoid the mass deportations. It's also these liberal politicians like in San Diego County where they passed a super sanctuary policy.
It's a showdown in San Diego as elected officials there are at odds over how much they should cooperate with the incoming Trump administration's mass deportation plan. San Diego County supervisors voted 3-1 Tuesday to make San Diego a so-called super sanctuary county. The new policy would prohibit its sheriff's department from working with ICE and federal authorities to deport migrants, even when migrants are in custody for committing crimes.
Yes, that's a policy that politicians, board supervisors, leaders in the county and city of San Diego just passed. Even if illegals have committed crimes, we're not going to work with ICE to get them out of this country. It's SeanDaniel here. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. Now let's hear more about these self-deportations where migrants are actually leaving the country voluntarily after all the aid they've gotten, all the places they've been able to fly, eat, stay. They know who's coming.
Donald Trump's mass deportation plans are set to begin in major cities, but could face immediate backlash. Just last night, a San Diego County voted to deny aid to federal immigration enforcement.
That's
But
crazy.
News Nation is now confirming some migrants are starting to leave on their own, attempting to self-deport ahead of the second Trump presidency. And in the past few years, the U.S. has seen the largest immigration surge in American history, with an annual average of close to 2.5 million people, and that's just from 2021 to 2023. News Nation's Allie Bradley is live for us in Del Rio, Texas, with this exclusive. So, Allie, what more are you learning about these apparent self-deportations?
Yeah, so what we're learning here, Nicole, is that migrants who are going through their asylum proceedings are actually cutting things short on their own, and they're finding ports of entry and they're trying to leave ahead of the possibility of Trump removing them. So migrants are actually finding Border Patrol agents or CBP officers, and they're asking them if they can leave. Here's the deal, though. Because those migrants are in actual legitimate proceedings, DHS really has no bearing here. They're in the court's hands right now. So all CBP can do is advise that they walk back to Mexico through a port of entry. They have that legal right to do that. Now, one man from Venezuela told agents that he was trying to get out before Trump gets in, and says that he heard there was an agreement with Mexico and Venezuela where they are actually helping to get people back to their home country. Now, Venezuela has not taken deportation flights back from the United States for nearly a year. Mexico does.
That should tell you something. If Venezuela don't want them back, why should we want them?
Have a better working relationship with Maduro, and that might be a possibility for this young man. Now, we called the migrant stepfather in Pennsylvania, who confirmed that the migrant went back to Mexico to continue his journey to Venezuela. Interesting here, though, because they are in proceedings already, they are not self-deporting, they are self-departing. However, an immigration attorney that we talked to says that move is essentially the same thing, and they essentially issue a deportation order against themselves when they do this, and they likely will have issues coming back in if they have a valid hearing. Take a listen.
They are probably not going to be able to get back in to reapply or to start the process over. It's in many of these, asylum included, you kind of get one chance. And if you give up halfway through, you don't get to come back and ask for asylum again. You'll be put into a different type of proceeding and you won't have asylum available to you.
Okay, so of course this comes as President-elect Trump is promising those mass deportations come day one. So something we'll certainly be watching for. But many of the migrants that we're talking to here, Nicole, say they are worried, they are concerned of the threat of being deported, but they are also convinced that President-elect Trump is going to go after the criminals and the people that have a final order of removal first. However, remember, border czar Tom Homan said no one is safe because crossing the border illegally is a crime in itself. Nicole.
So, Allie, do immigration officials think that this self-deporting will potentially become more prevalent?
Yeah, we would think that we would be seeing it all over the place because they would potentially get kind of a ding on their record in the future if they were deported under Trump. But what's interesting here is that immigration attorney that we talked with, she says that she doesn't believe it will be a trend, but rather migrants will move within the United States into kind of sanctuary counties like San Diego or regions where they feel like they're going to be able to be more protected. She said the idea of them self-deporting is not something that we will likely see a lot of because they do end all of their opportunities within the U.S. when they do that, Nicole. And of course, they're watching the news too, and they're learning right along with us.
Before we see exactly what San Diego has now passed with a super sanctuary policy, let me explain what she just referenced about the final order of removal. Tom Homan said, you're going to be gone because when you cross the border, you're committing a crime. Now, the other reasons why people have been deported before is when they come to the country, they get a court hearing set, date set for them to have their asylum case be heard. And then after that, if their case at the hearing is denied, they have a final order of removal to leave the United States. Now, there's been a lot of issues with ICE, the Immigration Enforcement Office, being able to work with local and city police to be able to find these people that have these final orders of removal and get them out. Why? Because of these sanctuary cities protect these people. They don't allow the city police department to work with ICE to get these people, even if they've committed crimes now in San Diego. But Tom Homan is saying, it don't matter if you guys have a final order of removal after your hearing or not. You already committed a crime by crossing this border illegally, so you're out of here.
It's a showdown in San Diego as elected officials there are at odds over how much they should cooperate with the incoming Trump administration's mass deportation plan. San Diego County supervisors voted 3-1 Tuesday to make San Diego a so-called super sanctuary county. The new policy would prohibit its sheriff's department from working with ICE and federal authorities to deport migrants, even when migrants are in custody for committing crimes.
That's crazy.
Current state sanctuary law makes exceptions for local and federal authorities to cooperate in cases of migrants committing violent crimes.
So the current situation is if they commit violent crimes, city and local police can work with ICE to get these people, find them, and get them out. Current situation. But the new thing that was just passed, 3-1, says even in that situation, no, ICE, you can't come get us. Now watch the twisted logic reason why these council members voted 3-1 for this protection of these violent criminals that are also illegal aliens.
The San Diego County Sheriff says she will defy the new policy while continuing to follow state law. Nora Vargas, a county supervisor who brought forth the proposal to not allow federal and local cooperation in deportations, said we will not allow our local resources to be used for actions that separate families, harm community trust, or divert critical local resources away from addressing our most pressing challenges. Another supervisor who voted for its passage argued residents are less likely to report crimes if they believe that person could get deported, resulting in a family separated. The only supervisor who voted against it argued the policy is protecting criminals, not San Diego residents and law-abiding migrants.
Making sure that people know that they can report crimes to the sheriff and that they don't need to be concerned that that's going to immediately trigger deportation strongly outweighs any potential concerns.
This proposed legislation, to me, seeks to prioritize the interest of illegal criminal immigrants.
Yes, this woman is really claiming that with the old policy, you might separate your loved one from you by reporting a violent crime which they committed, which could result in them being deported. If they're committing violent crimes, even if they're a family member, why the hell do you want them around? And even better yet, why should the city want them around? I mean, I can't believe they can even build this type of a case or a reasoning as to why the old law is bad. Now let's hear some more about Jim, the one guy who actually voted against this in San Diego. First of all, Jim, get the hell out of San Diego, man. But thank you for voting no. Let's hear what he had to say.
I think this policy goes beyond California's existing sanctuary laws by adding an additional layer of bureaucracy that hinders local law enforcement from directly notifying ICE about illegal immigrants who are currently in our jails. And they have committed heinous crimes, including child abuse or endangerment, driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, but only if this conviction is for a felony, possession of an unlawful deadly weapon, gang-related offenses, a crime resulting in death or involving personal affliction or great bodily injury, possession or use of a firearm in the commission of an offense, torture, rape, and kidnapping. That's the population we're talking about. So under this policy, and if a legal immigrant commits one of these serious crimes, San Diego County would be legally prohibited from directly coordinating with ICE.
That's insane.
This effectively protects the offenders from deportation, allowing them to remain in our communities where they could cause that same harm again.
It's going to be interesting to see how many other governments, how many other cities, counties jump through these hoops to try to, as a last-second measure, protect their illegals who are always going to vote for them, which can keep them in power. Because it's not like these people are not going to do anything. They're going to try to do something to keep the power that they worked so hard to gain with the Biden administration passing all these laws, allowing people in, because they know who's coming. They know Tom Homan is not messing around. And to help you guys not be so frustrated and down and irritated by the ridiculousness going on, let's watch another clip of Tom right here to remember who is coming to set shit in order.
I got another message to the criminal cartels in Mexico. You smuggled enough fentanyl across this country to kill 148,000 young Americans. You have killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. And that's when President Trump gets back in office. He's going to designate you a terrorist organization, and he's going to wipe you off the face of the earth. You're done. You're done.
He is not playing. So I can't wait to see how this really works out, how this shakes out. And technically, strategically, and practically, how do they get all these people out of the country? It's itsSeanDaniel here. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, joining my YouTube membership down below to support me in a small or big way, depending on how much you're enjoying the videos. And here's some more you can watch right here. I'll see you in the next one. And this time, I remember to put my mic on. I filmed this video once before. My mic was sitting over there.